failing to signal a lane change.
Riding in your girlfriend's car with a child in the back.
Running to the bathroom in your own apartment.
Selling cigarettes outside of a corner store.
Riding a commuter train.
Walking home with a friend.
Making eye contact.
Selling CDs outside of a supermarket.
Wearing a hoodie. Walking away from police.
Walking toward police.
Missing a front license plate.
Holding a fake gun in the park in Ohio.
Driving with a broken brake light. Sitting in your car before your bachelor party.
Walking up the stairwell of your apartment building.
Calling for help after an accident.
Owning a fake gun in Virginia.
On the way to Bible study.
Holding a fake gun in Walmart.
Laughing.
Holding a wallet.
For attending a birthday party.
Doing absolutely nothing.
Not servile enough. Go to weareheremovement.com to tell President Obama and Congress that the time for change is now. We demand radical transformation to heal a long history of systemic racism so that all Americans have the equal right to live and to pursue happiness.
So how do we get here? To such a dark place. Sort of pit we can't seem to climb out from. Instead, we just climb upon one another and pull each other back down. Some may call it a lobster in a bucket syndrome. But how did we get here? How did our lives for generations fly before us? Out of our grasp, out of our control, as if our destiny was in the hands of someone else. It seems we have reached this dark place by design, by strategic measures, a hijacked culture, recreated and formatted for the New World Order. A broken people, but how did we get here? Some say, oh, slavery ended over 150 years ago and Jim Crow ended in 1965. Get over it. Well, the war on black people did not end in 1965. And we won't even add on the residual effects of the prior 400 years and generational destabilization and trauma. Instead, we'll focus on the perpetual downfall of a people from 1965 to our present day. This analysis will shed a bright light on how we got where we are at now and what methods were employed to guarantee this crippled position. Crippled mentally, physically, and spiritually, all by design. And no one is to blame. Let's get this clear. No one is to blame. No group, no other race. No one is to blame. Because we understand the Most High handles all matters, the good and the evil. And folly is set in great dignity, and the rich sit in low place. And as Christ spoke from his very mouth, so the last will be the first, and the first will be the last.
It's you liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has it. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Through the sciences, humanist research and development, psychology, eugenics, and social studies of the Fabian Society, Tavistock Institute, and the Esalen Institute, along with the assistance of the CIA, FBI, and foundations like Rockefeller, Mellon, and Carnegie, amongst others. Mind control and social engineering has been successfully applied to the deconstruction of the Black American population. Now, we understand these methods were used on all groups and populations in the nation, not just the Black. Yet extra measures were taken in particular on the Black race. And we are going to analyze those, analyze the methods by breaking down their administration according to decade, starting in the 60s, going into the 70s, 80s, 90s, and up into our current day and age. This cyclical and chronological understanding of mind control and its predatory nature will give you a much clearer sense of why the Black population is where it is today and why it functions as it does. Where are our leaders? Where are these celebs at when thousands of Black men are being killed in their own communities? Chicago, for instance. Why do they conveniently ignore the giant elephant in the room? Why don't you see these different artists and celebrities and basketball players and football players and athletes, why don't you see them supporting any type of group in their own communities to fight the violence? Why don't you see these people in Chicago on the streets changing the environment? Why don't we see this? They're so quick to run to this Black Lives Matter organization protests and support all of these large government scale organizations, yet they can't support their small grassroots communities that need the most help. Why? Let's think about this, because this dichotomy sheds some serious light on what's really going on. See, these leaders, these celebrities, these activists, these intellectuals, these politicians, these entertainers, they're not who you think they are, because they have separated themselves from their community and joined a new one. They are gatekeepers for the elite structure now, and they have always been. They pretend to care for the Black population only when it is in the interests of the elite agenda, the program, the great work, the magnum opus. Shall we make more connections? Think about it. Are not all these so-called leaders and celebs fraternal and sisterhood members? Let's look at Oprah. Isn't she an Eastern Star?
One of the points it brings out is one of the mistakes that human beings make is believing that there is only one way to live. That we don't accept that there are diverse ways of being in the world, that there are millions of ways to be a human being. And many ways, many paths to what you call God.
That
And
is
her path
basic.
might be something else, and when she gets there, she might call it the light. But her loving and her kindness and her generosity brings her, if it brings her to the same point that it brings you, it doesn't matter whether she called it God along the way or not.
And I guess the danger that could be in that, I mean, it sounds great on the onset, but if you really look at both sides,
There could possibly be just one way. What about Jesus? What about Jesus?
only one way. There is one way and only one way, and that is through Jesus.
There couldn't possibly be with a million.
You say there isn't.
There couldn't possibly be.
Because you say, you intellectualize it and say there isn't. If you don't believe that, you're all buying into the lie.
Is not Cornel West, Jesse Jackson, LeBron James, and Drake puppets of the boule? Fraternal order slave scum? We can look at the history of black culture creation to recognize that these things have always been this way. The black elite, or talented 10th, if you want to go back to Du Bois, who was a boule member, a secret society, high black elite gatekeeper. The celeb class, whatever you wish to call them, they have always been used as a device to arrest the development of their own people, all for fame, security, and abundant wealth at the expense of others, and under the oaths of Satan and his elite families. These figures have been used to sell false dreams, false hope, and pigeonhole blackness within fixed categories, limited by labels and stereotypes, all by design, all in the purpose of division, divide, and control, and the development of the Aquarian Age, the great Atlanticist Republic of Plato, the Tower of Nimrod,